Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, podcasters, our Facebookers, our IGzers, our YouTubers, our Americazers.
Oh my God.
We are back again, and this is
Brains and
Brains and
Beauty
Beauty
time.
Times
Yeah.
2.
I'm Shayla.
Okay, and I'm Miami. And today, you guys, it is about to be a show. It is about to be some realness. It's about to be some real conversations that we just need to talk about and address. So much so that we just could not even film it. My vibe just wasn't ready. I couldn't put my face on camera to face how I feel about what's going on in America right now as being a Black person. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, we normally keep it light. We normally try to keep it fun. We normally try to keep it real. We just try to keep y'all engaged, and we hope that this is just as engaging. But it's definitely not going to be a light conversation. It's not a light topic, and it's not light what's happening to our Black men and women in this country at all, and people of color, just period. But especially us Black people. So we got to have this conversation. And I know people are constantly saying how they're kind of tired of seeing certain images and us bashing the same subject over and over and over again, but we have to have this conversation in order to seek some kind of change. If you don't have
Right.
it, nothing will change. It'll just continue to happen, and it's just almost like you're not even a part, and you're not even trying to do anything. So you're a part of the problem if you're not trying to change it. So
Right. So
without that,
talking about it, yeah, talking about it over and over and over, it just basically highlights, like we were talking about earlier, like it just brings awareness.
yeah,
It helps cause pressure and put fire under people behinds who need um to take action on their side as people who are in charge. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
mayors, the people who are find these people accountable. The FBI is now involved. And let's just go ahead and just start and say some names right now. Uh,
hmm,
Start with saying his name before we get into what is going on as of today, which is what today is, child. Wednesday, May 27th. A time to be in America, child. But we're gonna start with George Floyd. We're going to go ahead and say his name. You already know what has happened. If you don't, you probably do. But just for the sake of this podcast could be listened to, I don't know, in another month, another 5, 6, 8, 10 months. Who knows? We got to go ahead and just repeat it um, on what has happened, Shay, with George Floyd.
with Mr. Floyd. He was found in his car. They thought that he had like erratic behavior, and they thought something was weird about what he was doing in his vehicle. They asked him to basically get out, and they basically was accusing him of forgery. But they said he looked like he was like something medical maybe have been wrong with him while he was in his car. Now, keeping that in mind, since they keep bringing up the whole medical thing, um, they said that he was not listening to the officers and he was not complying. And so they basically handcuffed him and was trying to get him under control. And he was just, I don't know. I don't know if it was the medical situation or whatever they thought it was happening. Regardless, somehow he ended up on the ground with three officers on top of him. One officer, Derek Chauvin. I don't know how you pronounce his last name.
The
CHA.
main, yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
main one with the
the main,
knee on the
yeah,
neck.
the knee on the neck. Yes, the other two were on his body, and supposedly like on his stomach area because he was yelling out in pain in front of bystanders that he couldn't breathe. I can't
Yeah.
breathe. My stomach is hurting. I can't breathe. Please, please help me. I
Yeah,
can't.
it's pressure. Can you imagine you got four people because it was a fourth person? Can you imagine you have all these people on top of you?
Yeah,
Your chest is to the floor, it's caving in. You can't exhale completely right with your stomach and your chest because your chest can't expand. So I
your
can
hand.
only imagine. Plus
Yeah,
your doggone air is being cut off because your neck is being compressed. So it's just so much involved in the death and how they killed that man, how they murdered him in broad daylight while they were on duty, supposed to be around here protecting people. And on top of that, I ain't seen nobody with no mask on. But that's a different topic for another day.
Yeah.
Nobody had a mask on. Not one person in that video that I saw. Not one police officer. So that's
Yeah.
already something right there. And yeah, they just murdered him right there, just right there. And you hear the people who was videoing the whole thing tell
Tell,
them, yeah,
yeah.
tell them like
Yeah.
lighten up, like whatever. And you see the other officer who's trying to push everybody away, like, no, we got this under control. No, you don't. Look at him. They wasn't even listening. And it just makes you think, like, when it comes to video recording stuff at this time and day, and it's like, okay, we are so grateful that things are being recorded and things are being highlighted. And sometimes you're thinking about, like, what can you do? What can you do in a situation like that besides just doing sit there recording it? And it makes you think, like, dang, like, could I have jumped in? But then you jump in, you may be on the floor too. Just like the grandma who just got held on the floor earlier today after all of this just happened. It was a new video that just surfaced of this young man. God, what city is it in? Let me get the city or whatever. But a young man on inside of his yard, he gets gunned down. He didn't die. He hasn't been killed. But the grandma went over there to try to break him up and tell the police officer to get off her grandson. They pulled this 90-year-old lady on the ground. So it's like, yeah, we could sit there and record, and yeah, we want to jump in, but it's like, if we jump in and try to stop what's going on, our lives are now at jeopardy as well. Who knows what can happen? You know what I mean? And it sucks because you don't want to just stand there and record anything. You want to do something too. Like, it makes me think of when I was driving down Fort Lauderdale one time. I had a meeting, and after I left the meeting, I was driving on my way back home, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a police stop. So I looked, and I saw it was a black guy. He was on his motorcycle. So I took it amongst myself. I still have the stories in my archives, and I took it amongst myself to take the time out of my day to sit there, record, and stand there to watch and see what was going to happen to this black man on a motorcycle. So I got as close as I could before they told me, one, I had to go move my car out of the way because me, girl, I just pulled right over. And I stood there and recorded the whole thing. I got as close as I could just to sit there and see. Just to sit there and see. I don't know what could have happened if anything was going to escalate. But that black man told me, sis, thank you so much for waiting. And it took almost 40 minutes for them to write up everything they had to write up. Another car came up, and you're sitting there recording this, knowing, because you want to get everything on camera. You want to get the person's face. You want to get the other people's badges. But at the same time, you want to make sure you record everything and just be there. When I got
Yeah.
in my car, I cried because it's like, I don't forget that day. Why is it that I have to sit there and record you for you to abide by what you were supposed to do? I don't know what could have happened that day. You know what I mean? If I did not stand there and watch this black man by himself with 3 officers, 2 cars. Like, I don't know what could have happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. It just sucks. And it's just like, girl.
Well, I definitely have to clarify for the 3 officers that were on top of him. The fourth officer was standing very close by, trying to keep bystanders at bay. And regardless of whether he was standing, you know, wasn't standing on top of him or not, he was a witness to it. He knows the
Yep.
law. He but that move was illegal. He was aware, and as far as we are concerned, you were an accomplice. Just like if you were driving a getaway car
Yep.
for someone to rob a bank, it's the same, or it's the same scenario.
Yeah. Or if you witness a murder and you know everything about it, a hit and run, like
Yeah,
all of that stuff, you get prosecuted with that stuff. This is
yeah,
no different. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And supposedly, again, this move, they know is an illegal move. You cannot do this move. And supposedly, according to the police chief, that was this was something that they know is an illegal move they cannot do. And it's not the first time we've seen it be done to a person of color either, because this is not the first time I know I've seen it. It's not the first time. And it just happens to be a time that it's just I know that we're all so tired of hearing about these Black men being killed for the most ridiculous reasons. Again, this one, you tried to say that he was being arrested for forgery. That so him being arrested for forgery resulted in ended up in him losing his life.
Yeah.
Because one or maybe two officers could not contain him with his hands behind his back and him on his stomach. How was he going to get up?
Yeah, I don't know. With Ford again, this is a perfect comparison when it comes to the white and Black ways of being arrested, right? Let's talk about
Yeah.
the people who do mass shootings, right? They get
Yeah.
escorted out so peacefully, and you have killed people, and it's known you have been a mass shooter. The one who went in the Black church and killed them people in the church. The other guy who
Mm-hmm.
did the mass shooting in Columbine. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
just so many white other people who have been peacefully arrested, knowing they have taken lives. But you have our Black men who have been accused of all of these things, accused of uh what is it that they said he was accused
His was for
yeah,
forgery.
for forgery, right? Okay, so accused of something, no lives
Mm-hmm.
involved, but you down for that. Another Black man accused of what he was selling cigarettes.
You
Our
talking about
first case.
you talking about the other one in New York, the other gentleman in New York, the other Black guy in New York from
Yes.
6 years ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure
Mm-hmm.
I say his name properly. Um Say his name correct and properly.
That was 6 years ago, I believe. I believe he was selling CDs, if memory serves, and they were choking him, and he was yelling out the same thing:
Yeah.
"Stop, breathe! I can't breathe!" And again, at some point, you get again with more. It was more than one officer there. How is it that you all? It always seems as though. Okay, let's just say that it always seems as though you need multiple officers to deal with one person.
One Black
One,
person. One Black
one black,
person.
just one. If someone says I can't breathe, you would think, okay, let me ease up a little bit, not let me continue.
Eric
I
Garner.
don't
I'm sorry.
this.
Eric
Yes,
Garner.
yes. I couldn't think of his last name. I didn't want to say it incorrectly, but just like it, you would think it was. It's so sad that it's gotten to a point now where you just have where it's so many names to even just recall of all of the ridiculous situations that caused them to die
Yeah.
over silliness and ridiculousness. Someone lost their life over some absolute foolishness. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm trying to figure out what is it going to take for this to change.
It's I just feel like it's going to take more action. I know what we're doing now is bringing awareness that this is an issue. I know we talked about it earlier that this has been going on forever and ever and ever, back to the 1800s, back when some of our ancestors had planted their feet on this doggone soil, and some of our ancestors was already here. It's when they came in contact with the Eastern civilization. You know what I mean? When they came over here is when everything started. So I just feel like this has just been going on, and it just reminds me of, like you said, is it ever going to get better? Is it ever going to change? I mean, is it getting better? Yes, but overall, is racism ever going to leave this country? Is racism ever going to leave our lives? Are they going
No,
to look?
I don't think we'll ever leave.
You know what I mean? Like, why is it that you
No.
feel so threatened from us? What is it that we've done? I mean, all of the races in America, all the races in the world, we all have a small percentage of people that we don't like that represents us, right? And I know white people have the
Yeah.
same thing. I know they're like, oh my God, this does not represent me. Okay, but you have a small group of people, or you have a group of people. I don't know how small, how big it is. You have a group of people who represent you and make us think that you all are the same. So I know we have some people in our group as well that we're not ashamed, that we're ashamed of as well. However, it does not equate to the entire race of people. And I just feel like it's still just a constant, it's just a constant finger pointing, man, because we're Black. we're always treated as if we're always below, as if they are very scared or they are so threatened from us, as if we're going to take over the world, as if we're going to be just like them. Because I always said it in the back of my head all the time. If we were to be like you guys, can you imagine if we was just so ruthless and we were so savage as a group, as a collective? How would the world look like? I have no idea. But we're not like that as a collective. And I feel like they treat us like we're like that as a collective, and we're not. And it's crazy because you could go ahead and cheer for Michael Jordan. You know, you could go ahead and cheer for LeBron James. You can go ahead and listen to all of our music. You can go ahead and clap your fingers and snap, and you want to take pictures and you want the autographs from all of our men who are head honchos in so many areas when it comes to our culture. But you can't sit here and treat us outside of those things. So if we're not doing those things of putting on our black faces and cheery, hope, and jump up and down for you, we don't matter at all. But we just mattered a week ago when you was watching the Jordan documentary, when you were such a big Jordan fan. But when you see one of his brothers out here in these streets, you don't care. Like I that part is what I don't understand.
Because hatred is hatred, and even though don't ever think that just because someone likes a particular player or likes a particular audience that is of another race or ethnicity doesn't mean that they don't have some kind of deep-seated issue with the culture as a whole.
I get it. No, I get it. That makes sense.
Like it's so, and a lot of the times they don't even understand that they have it. Like, a prime example with the other young lady that we'll get into later on. Like, just I wasn't trying, her whole thing was I wasn't trying to hurt him. Oh, really? So what did you think was gonna happen when you called the police?
Let's just go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and start with it. Let's go ahead and start with her.
The white woman with the dog, we already know how they treat their animals, are like family. They're like actual living, breathing human beings. That's how they treat them. And again, I've grown up around a lot of Caucasian people who that's exactly how they treated them. And again, most people that I know that are black do not treat their animals the same. And I'm not saying they don't care about their animals, but they don't treat them like they're human beings. Like almost like they're above other people. They're even like, I almost feel like a lot of the time Caucasian people treat their animals so much like human beings to the point where if they don't like people of color, they even treat them better than you. You understand what I'm saying?
They get more rights.
Kidding me? You understand what I'm saying? So with that alone, after she called the police on a gentleman named Christian Cooper, of no relation, a black man, who basically simply just asked her in a park, please, ma'am, put a leash on your dog, because that is park rules that all of animals that are pets be put on leashes. That's a rule. Okay, now since we want to talk about laws and rules, he was supposed to be on the leash, which he was not. All he did was ask her to put her on the leash and to basically keep your distance when it comes to social distancing. She did not, walked up on him, got extremely upset. How dare you?
Girl, walked up in his face.
My pet child like this.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to me.
I'm taking pictures and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I'm in the Ramble, and there is a man, African-American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African-American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the Ramble. I don't know.
Thank you.
How dare you talk about my pet child like this?
Mm.
You know, and then was choking her dog. Her dog still wasn't on the leash now. Still wasn't on the leash as she's attacking him and telling him that I'm going to call the police on you and tell them that you're threatening me and my animal. Now, he didn't say anything remotely like that. Now, thank God he was recording.
Yeah.
And these days and times, does that even matter? Because people are recording stuff and we're still not getting justice. You understand what I'm saying? So even in the evidence, we're still not getting the justice that we should be getting. Now, again, this young lady, after she called and did all of that, the man was not, you know, he was fine, and she eventually, I think, got administrative leave from her job when the job found out about it, and then ultimately got fired. And then I think they came and got her dog as well because they said she was, you know, doing hard. You can see her physically choking the dog, trying so hard to focus on this black man who simply asked you to leash your dog. Even if it wasn't
because
a rule, even if it wasn't
because you,
how do you think that you can play with my life with your, I don't know your animal. I don't know him or her. I don't know what she's capable of. Why? You don't know if I like dogs. You don't know if I'm terrified of dogs. You don't know my health conditions. You don't know anything. So why would you not just simply say, oh, no problem, because the leash was in your hand, so you knew it, that she had to be on a leash. Why wouldn't you just leash the dog, shut your mouth, and go about the rest of your day?
Because if them tables were turned, if that was a black woman with a white man, my gosh.
And on top of it, again, had he not have been recording and had the police shown up and believed every bit of her story, this man, let's just say, now this man was very well, is very well educated. I'm trying to get the specs on him, but he very well educated man, very well educated man. Again, not that should matter in this case, but a lot of times they like to use that against us. They like to find the negatives. He was a college dropout. He was a blood. They always try to throw some kind of visual of us that makes us look less than, as they're explaining why we were murdered in cold blood. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to throw that in there. He was an intelligent man, and again, like he said in the end, I don't want anybody wishing her death threats and all that kind of stuff. She could very well be truly sorry, as she said after the fact that she was truly sorry. Now, again, I ain't gonna give her all that. I don't think you were doing that because you were truly sorry. You didn't know what you were doing. But at the same time, I don't wish ill upon you. I don't wish death upon you. You understand what I'm saying? Because I would be no better than you.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm trying to hint at. If we were to be just like them, let me tell you how this world will be. But we're not like that. For whatever reason, God has given us some type of something in us, not all of us, but the majority of us, to to think like that, to say, you know what, I'm not even gonna stoop to your level, because if I was, I already know what can happen. You know what I mean? But besides, I'm gonna be the bigger person, because I wouldn't even want you to die like that. But they don't think like that. And I'm just trying to figure out, is it just everybody who's just been recorded, or just like here and there, or what the ones who are not like this? Because I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out how and why. And on top of that, there was another guy, another white, or another situation like this, with the white man who called the police on these 3 black boys who were in their we work facility and station. And these young boys had a business inside of this same building with this white man. His name was Tim somebody. But he called the police on them again. He called the police on them, and they had key cards. They were working out in the shared space gym. And this white man just said, "What are y'all doing here? What room y'all in?" As if they are the authority. And it's just like, you guys feel like you always, not you guys, and not all white people. Let me make sure I phrase myself of that. I'm just starting to realize, like, you really have this thing about being in control. You have to be in control, and you cannot hear nothing from our mouths.
This whole world is about power, and they've always had power that we have not had. and they don't even like, I feel like it's the moment we even look like we have a little power, they find every way to remind us that we don't really have the power we think we
Exactly.
have. You understand
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So like, okay, so just like you just said, so what do you think? Do you think that in order for us for justice to really prevail in when it comes to our situations with how officers treat us and how the system works against us, do you think that white people would have to, or Caucasian people, I'm sorry, would have to join our fight in order for us, for anything to
Yes, they
happen?
have
Like
to.
without
They
nothing
have to. It's
happen.
just like I said this before on one of my other my podcast, on one of my YouTube channels for HIV advocacy, right? And I said this, and this is a thing I constantly say over and over and over. Even when it comes to HIV, you have to have people who talk about it, who are not just positive people, who are HIV positive, talking about, hey, here's the education about HIV. Here's how to prevent HIV. This is how to live with HIV. This is how to be treated with HIV. You got to have people as well who are not HIV positive to sit here and be an advocate, to sit here and bring awareness as well, because you just can't have one group. Same thing goes for us when it comes to female and women rights. We don't just want all females to sit here and fight for us. We want men to jump in for us too and say, you know what? The women rights are just not right. We need to fix that. You know what I mean? We want our husbands to jump in. We want our male friends to jump in. We want our brothers to jump in. We want our sons and our nephews and our uncles to jump in with us and say, you know what, this isn't right. This isn't right. And it comes down when it comes to race, absolutely. We have to have other races so it won't feel like we're screaming on the top of our lungs, being brats, acting as if we're just screaming that something is wrong. And it's absolutely just not always wrong. This thing is, always that we're in the wrong. You know what I mean? We have to have other groups so everybody can see that it really is an issue. It really is an issue. It ain't just all females screaming that it is an issue. No, they go ham for that. It ain't just the PETA people who out here having all these rights for doggone animals. It's other people who don't even have animals who feel the same way sometimes that PETA just how they feel about animal rights. You don't have to have no animal to be a part of PETA and feel like you know what I mean, and be an advocate and bring awareness. No, we need other races to jump in and say, you know what, this police brutality thing is just getting out of hand. Now, the black on black stuff, we got to deal with that amongst ourselves, but we need to fix this police brutality thing, because it's different, because we pay taxes to these group of people who are supposed to protect us when we feel like something is going on. You know what I mean? Who are supposed to be there and help us in many ways if there is somebody at our business acting crazy, or if it's, you know what I mean? And we have these people are the ones who's killing us. So it's a major issue. And everybody has to jump in.
How are we I 100% agree. Like, how are we supposed to say out of our mouths, oh yeah, these are the group of people who are we're supposed to call on you when something's wrong and we need help, and yet you're the ones killing us?
Yeah, because something
is
wrong.
Like,
something is wrong right now, and we do need help right now in this moment. And guess what? You guys are just turning. It's like they're putting on a mask. You're just turning to something else that we just can't recognize. They are becoming less human, and if you're becoming less human, that means we need to go ahead and just employ the robots right now, and fire you all, and it'd be like our movie or our robot movie. Because if you're not listening, and if you don't have a heart, who are you then? You are a terrorist at this point. Yeah. I feel like they're terrorists. They're white supremacists. And I feel like there needs to be something about, like this whole Amy girl. She is just not, they calling her little Karen to be funny, right? And I feel like, no, her name was not to be Karen. Her name was Amy, and she's a white supremacist. She's borderline. And if she ain't fully, maybe she's low key, because how she did that quick to even add. How she did it so quickly.
Yeah.
See, you know a character of a person of when that heat is on them, what comes out so quick. Don't get me wrong, we all are not perfect. We all slip up sometimes. But how she did that so quickly, and then through this African American man. You know what I mean? Like that's
And
deep.
told him to his face, I'm going
That
to
you're
tell the
African American.
police that an
Yeah, that's what I'm
African
saying.
American man, not just an African American man, because you knew what that was going to do. And then at the end, say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Are you sorry because you lost your job? Are you sorry because they took your pet
No,
child
because
from
you're on
you?
Front Street.
Which part are you
Yeah, your name
sorry
is now
for?
Googleable. You know, your Amy Little Cooper, whatever your name is, who's a racist white supremacist who will call the police on a black man or black woman because she's not getting her way, or she feels like her little power has just been I don't know, and it sucks. It sucks.
Her power
Yeah,
has been
how dare
challenged.
you? How dare you,
Like,
black
how dare
man,
you?
challenge
Yeah.
me or even say
How
anything to me? How dare you?
how dare you tell me what to do with
Yeah,
my child?
like go back
It's
to the
so
fields,
sickening.
go
It's
back to the fields
so
and keep picking cotton while I'm on here on this porch. While I go tell master, you want him to come out there and beat you? You better shut your mouth.
I
Like
don't mean
that's
to
how I
laugh, but
feel.
that was
That's
so
why it takes me back because it makes me think about Emmett Till when that white woman did all of that, had that young boy killed and murdered terribly, and then years later, before she died, gonna sit here and say I'm sorry. That is not what happened. And this is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
1950, 1955. This is 2000. And if that man did not know how to carry himself or record it, who knows what could happen to him? The police could have came.
Yeah.
He could have got irate. He could have got, oh, he's resisting arrest. Not because he's showing emotions, because he's terrified and mad that this doggone white woman just set him up while he's out here
It's
doing what he
lying.
does all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
He's always in that park. He's a doggone bird watcher.
Yeah.
My
He was
gosh.
bird watching because that's what he does. That's
And
a
it's
hobby of
documented
his.
that it is. You know what I mean? And it just goes, it's just been going back and back. It goes back to so far, man. These images of just black people from lynching to being burnt to houses being caught on fire to like I said, I know we're saying we're tired. Like I'm low, like for real, I am tired of seeing it. But I understand that it has been going on for many years, for hundreds of years. And I get that. But it's
We
just
just
getting to the
have cameras
point
now.
where I said a post today, like the torch has to be passed down to us. And I feel like we got a little bit, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I know our parents' generation, like, you know, the parents of the 80s babies, you know what I mean? The parents of even some of the 70 babies thought that it was basically kind of done because segregation happened. And there's a lot of things that happen, and we're able to do this now. We're able to compete in jobs. We're able to do this, but we're still fighting still for equality of just breathing and having human life. You know what I mean? I think the generation, our parents' generation, along with us, now we got a little bit lax because we felt like, you know what, we're able to work. We should be grateful. We're able to go out and go in the store, go through one door in the front with everybody else. We ain't got to get on the back of the bus no more. We can share the same water fountain. We can work out in the same gyms with you. We can, you know, like, so that's enough. And it wasn't enough. And I think we should have kept applying the pressure, and that type of mentality to transfer over to another generation should have been passed on. But it's not nobody's fault. It's just like now we see that it's not over. And now new laws has to come up. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay. So what do you think? So what do you think that we should be like doing right now? Like, I know there are a lot of people out here, like just like people like Sean King and like grassroots movement. I know they're doing things. They're not just calling awareness, but they're making it a daily effort to make sure that people don't forget what's happening, to make sure that they're rallying people together to make some kind of change, whether it's calling DA offices, whether it's in the cities that these things are happening in, and not letting up until something is done. And they did that a lot. They did that with Ahmaud Arbery when he was gunned down just from jogging. They did that in the
and that wasn't even with the police.
the
That
other
was just
case.
a white person, period. Almost got away with it. I think he was a retired police officer or something like that. The white man.
Three of him, his son, and a neighbor. So it's just like, what is it that you
What
think
has
that,
to happen?
we should be doing if we're not protesting, if we're not doing that after the protesting, what's next? Like, what should we be doing?
I think it's so crazy because to even answer that question, what I'm about to say something right now, is that we don't even know what the first steps are, bro. Like, because we have been so conditioned to just post, bring awareness, use our celebrities who are in high places, and hopefully they get it so they can share and make big calls. Because people like us, or people who don't have no following at all, they can post on social media. What that's going to do, add to the hashtag. I just feel like we really don't know what the first step is. What could happen, and it's crazy because the mindset of what the first step is still a blur, because we have not been able to deal with this, and we rely on a lot of people to make it happen and be done. But I personally, the only thing I could think of, just sitting here, just thinking off the top of my head, like freestyling off, would be, I want our politicians, I want our Black leaders in all arenas who knows how this system works, who knows how to create things and get them passed and get them lobbied to be reviewed, to be passed. Like, they know how deep that stuff goes. We need our people that we have elected, especially those of color, actually those who are Black, because of color sometimes does not equate to anything for Black sometimes. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. And I can say that because I'm living in Miami, and I know that firsthand. Okay. Just because you're brown does not mean you're Black. So, and again, that's not everybody who's brown and everybody who's not Black. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you got to just depend on our own.
Our issues aren't necessarily
exactly. It's not their
concern.
main heightened concern, like we feel it. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's going to take all our people who are in those places, who knows how this stuff works, who knows how laws, like how to create, how to get them passed, how to come up and develop them. Like, we are so in the dark of how the process goes when it comes to being a collective, when we come together. We saw how it used to be back in the days when the Black Panthers used to get together. They used to come in a room, they used to talk. You know what I mean? Like Malcolm X and Jesse and all of them, they used to come together and figure out how to get stuff done. I just feel like it's not like that anymore, because I feel like there's just no blueprints for us to follow on how to get this stuff legally done correctly and how T.I. say expeditiously. You feel me? Like, I feel like no, seriously, I just feel like if we don't know how to make real change, who can we count on that's already in these places to help us make real change? What is our first steps? It's crazy because we really don't know. What is it? Let's think about it, Shay. What is our first steps? Besides, okay, calling and protesting and hashtagging, right? And if we get enough of those floating, it brings awareness, right? And sometimes you have to get to action. You have to have a call to action. And it's like, we are at a call to action. This is exactly why I am still protesting the NFL. This is why I'm still protesting the NFL, because, but then at the same time, I had some type of feeling about, okay, what's next? We could protest. I'm cool with not. I'm sitting out for the Dolphins, being a diehard fan, and I've been sitting out going on 4 years now. What else? What is next, Kaepernick? Like, what are the action steps that we need to take besides waiting out for them to hire you? What else can we do? What else can be justified besides a hire? What else? Do I still feel like it's wrong? Absolutely. That's why I'm still protesting. But what else? What else? Like you're saying. And I honestly can't even ask that. The only thing I can think of is, how can we put together some type of new law to present it to be changed? How can we get it in front of Trump? And I said on Twitter today, if Trump can pass all these trillions of dollars to give out to us to save an economy, you pass this bill within weeks to pull out trillions of dollars for businesses and for people, for stimulus, to save the economy. What can be done in weeks to save Black lives moving forward? What? How can we get something like that done quickly, just like that? Why? Because why? Because it's not a part of the economy. No, I
We
get
can't
it.
expect anything
I
from
get it,
him,
but it's
though.
still
We
part
can't
of Congress. It's
expect
still
him.
people below him. Yes, he signs off.
Yeah, but again, if it's clear that they're afraid of him. They're not doing anything to stop this complete maniac. Okay, and I'm just gonna call it what it is. He's an absolute fool and he's an idiot. Okay, nobody's stopping him from doing the craziness or saying. You can't even stop this man's Twitter fingers. You understand? You can't even stop simply tweeting ignorant crap that makes us look stupid to the world. So I don't expect much to come from anything with him when you ain't seen nothing from anybody below him yet. Like, what are we? Why? This is the same man who just let I cannot remember the man's name. He was in Chicago. He was the one that they sent to prison for. I think he was supposed to serve like 13, 14 years for trying to auction off or sell to the highest bidder Barack Obama's seat in Chicago when he became president. His seat was left open. And he was trying to basically who wants it, and he was selling it not necessarily for monetary purposes for him, but it was for his benefit. So he still benefited from it. It still helped and whatever stuff like that. So this is that same man. He actually got him off early. I think he only ended up serving like 7 or 8 of those 14 years I think he was supposed to serve. This is a man who blatantly you broke the law. You can't do that. And if you even claim you didn't know, then you're a fool.
I get that, right? But then at the same time, it's like, okay, if we feel personally in our gut that this man ain't gonna help us change or create or help us pass a law, which that is our actions to try to solve this. If we feel that we can't be, if we can't be heard, if we're not gonna be heard, and we're not gonna be helped, then what's the point? Then that means there's no action, Shay. That means there's no action. So my thing is, it's like
there's still actions, but I think like just for example, Sean King and them have started like when these things kind of started being like documented on video. Their first call to action steps were contacting the DAs of the cities that those particular incidents were in, and calling for either immediate arrests or immediate firing or both of those individuals. And so far, I can't think of a case that I've witnessed via Instagram or social media that they haven't seen any results.
No,
from. You understand what I'm saying? Just from doing that.
I totally.
But I think even that step is, those are constant things. This isn't like you tell me what to do today, and that doesn't mean you got to do it tomorrow or the day after or the day after. This is a daily thing that you have to do until something happens. I feel like people aren't on it enough. They're not persistent enough. They're not consistent enough to make sure that, okay, this happened yesterday and we know what we have to do today, but we also got to do it for the next 7 months until something happens. Until we get enough people rally behind us to make something happen. We're not consistent. I think that's the problem. We're not consistent and we're not on top of it. It's like a month from now, we forgot that we were on this big bandwagon of making sure that this person got justice.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I say it's going to take, besides us sitting here trying to rally up with each other and try to just come in a big old group and scream and shout, we have to make real steps of change. And the only way to create a change is to create a new law, which is to create new things to prevent these people, for at least, not even to prevent, to at least have them thinking, okay, there's a law involved. Now, if I go over here with this black man, if I do whatever, I already know what the consequences are. If we're not presenting a piece of the documentation to be presented to the Congress, so the Congress can present it to the president so that he can sign it, us rallying is doing nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, we have to figure out a way to come together to create the documentations, the wording. And the only people who know how to create that wording to get to the Congress is the people who are already up there, who are already in there. Not just the advocates, not just us out here rallying, not even the Sean Kings. Like, we have to have people who are inside to help us form documentations in a big old book so that it could be presented to the Congress and be passed, so that it could be something like that. Do we have to use celebrity? We may have to use celebrity because it's, go ahead.
But even even being presented, though, even just being presented is not enough. If we're not voting the right people in, it's the people that aren't getting things done that are still there, because we're not voting the people that should be in there in. And on top of it, not only just that, we're not actually making sure that we're going after these positions of power. How is it the same kind of people keep getting those positions? It's because we're not out here making sure that we're getting those positions. We don't understand really the true importance of those positions. We don't even really understand how many times have you voted locally and you didn't know who half the people on the ballot were, or what they've done, or what that position even does, and how it affects your day-to-day life, or your or how how certain laws work. That happens all the time, but we're not putting people in those positions to be able to change that. So it's the same kind of people with the same kind of agendas being put into those positions. So we have to start going after those positions as a culture. We have to start saying, you know what? It's about time for us to start getting these power seats.
I mean, yeah, and that's
because that's
gonna
where
take
real
time.
change is gonna happen.
I'm talking about something instant, right?
Yeah.
When I reference to this whole stimulus package that Trump just signed within like 2.5, 3 weeks, I'm thinking about like that. What is it that could possibly happen in that case, despite us not being in position, despite all of this type of stuff? Could it? My action step answer is: could we get our people who are already in there, maybe turn some of the people who are not Black to get on board and say, you know what, we agree. We thank y'all for coming to us with an idea of a package, of a scenario, of something, some type of paper. Get us, you hear that? That's paper. Get us some type of something that we could kind of review and say, you know what, it's enough for us. Now let's go ahead and try to vote this thing out. Well, what we have today, And I just said, like, I'm not understanding how the economy can be pushed and something like that could be passed in 2 weeks. For him to have a passing of a bill that quickly for an economy, my voice is, can we do something like that for lives? Or do we sit back and try to get ourselves in office for the next 4, 8 years, 2 years, and it's going to take time. We're talking about 2040 by then to get everybody inside. It's like, what can we do now? Do we play the Trump game? Do we use the Kardashians? Because shoot, she got him to get some people out of jail, out of prison, who was in there for life, forever. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's going to take. We have to start thinking about different ways on how we can do this. Well, what we got in our hands absolutely right now. And the only thing I could think about is employing those who know how to get this stuff done. And why is it not being done? I have no idea. We just don't know.
Because the people who have the true power don't. That's not on their agenda. They don't care.
But I just feel like we haven't taken that next step as a collective to learn more about what we have to do. Because I feel like we're I could put myself in this. I could put myself in this and say, I don't know everything when it comes to presenting a bill and how it takes to be lobbied to get in front of a Congress to get voted on. I have no idea the steps that take. I could type it up right now, but I don't know where to go. I don't know the steps and how many more steps it takes to get there. But I know somebody that's in there that does. But I just feel like I don't think we have presented anything. I haven't heard not one person in the last, let's just say, what's been going on since Trayvon Martin, the last 6, 7 years. I haven't heard anything, any documentation, anything coming together, being lobbied to be presented to the Congress to stop this stuff, to have consequences for police officers who deliberately kills people. That's what we're talking about. And I feel like, could it be done?
Yeah.
How my mind works and how I believe how God can turn hearts around and stuff like that. I just feel like if we could just give them something, come together with something, but we have to learn that. And it's not enough lessons being learned deeply to really remember on how to do it. We could go to school and learn about this stuff. We have been through these little classes and blah, 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 blah. But really to take,
them classes don't do this.
To
them
really make
don't
change.
Go in detail enough about
where are our lawyers?
Really means
where are our Black, like this is the type of stuff that should be shared. Where are our Black lawyers at? Where are our people who already have a seat? Where are their friends at? Like, that's who we need. That's who we need to be lobbying behind. We could sit here and repost what has happened, the disturbing pictures, the disturbing videos, the disturbing hashtags, the stories, the behind the scenes of these people's lives. But we need to be at these people who are already in. Y'all, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? How can we get this thing at least talked about up there with this doggone man of a Trump? You know what I mean? And he's just the last say, because he could present something to Congress. Congress could tell him, get out of here and go play, go kick rocks. But he's just the last say of a signature. Congress is the most important when it comes to creating new laws. And we have to figure out pointing ourselves there. And the question was, what do I think the action could be? We need to get ourselves in front of Congress. Period. ASAP. Who needs to create our documentation? Girl, I have no idea. I don't even know. And a lot of us don't know. And now we have to wake up now and figure that out.
I think that's the biggest thing. We don't. We're so misinformed, and we don't know.
Yeah, we're lax.
We don't know. We don't know.
Take care
you understand what I'm saying? But we have to start. We have to start making it a priority to be in the know. We have to know what's going on in our own country,
that's what it
how
is.
the system works, so that we can learn to play the game. I can't fight you. I can't come up against you anywhere if I don't know the game. If I don't know the rules to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I expect to win? I can't win if I don't know the rules to the game. If I don't know how it's played. And that's the whole problem, is that they know how to play the game, and we've never really, I don't really feel like ever really learned how to truly play it. Because if we did, just really think about if we really knew how to play the game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They'd be in trouble. We have to learn that part of it. That's where the change is at. That's where the hashtags and the repost should be at.
Yeah.
With that, trying to get to that point. Like, for real.
Yeah. I truly, like, I really want, like, I wish that HBCUs and so, because I think with us it should definitely start being implemented there. That these are courses and stuff that should be being taught. These are things that you should be making sure that that we as a people know when we are now going from children to young adults, and now we are leaving schools to go into become full grown adults. People who are out here paying bills and have rent and all that kind of stuff. These are things that you should know. There should never be a black person that leaves an HBCU who doesn't know.
I mean, it should be black people, period. No, I get what you're saying too, though.
I 100% agree, but I'm like, just an example. That's just an example. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't. Like, I know there are certain laws now that I go and I look up because I'm like, I need to know how this works. Like, for example, there is not a person on this earth that is black that should not know your rights when it comes to you getting pulled over or dealing with police officers. There's not there. You should, and whether you were taught it or not, it should be something that you're looking to know on your own, because you need to know it.
Right. But then it takes stuff like this for that to even be a light to even that you want to walk towards. You know what I mean? Because right now we are in.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's why the constant reminders and I know people get tired of seeing and all this kind of stuff, but there's a reason why I have to keep getting bashed into your head, because trust me, if you only saw it once or twice, you probably would just go on about your life and be like, oh, that was so sad. I was so sorry to hear about him. And you go on about your life and never think about that thing again. But if you get tired of hearing about something, it incites for you to get some kind of feeling.
Because on top of all of this, it's not even just on us either. It's like we were saying earlier, it takes other people as well. It's going to take other people to be advocates. It's going to take other people who want to help with the narrative of making change. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to see, white people in all color. I mean, female, male, and whoever else out there protesting with us, because that's waking them up as well. So the more we sit here and drive the
Mm-hmm.
repost and the outlash and all of that, it's waking them up to want to say, you know what? Let me call my daddy. He in Congress. Daddy, we gotta figure this out because this junk ain't right. Let's have some type of let's have the conversation to start to figure out what type of law could go into effect. What type of law? So if they deliberately kill you, what happens with that? If they accidentally kill, like it's so many intricate parts, and it's the police officer, so it's going to be very intricate, but it's going to take the smartest people. But how my faith is, Shay, like you were saying earlier about, if I don't have the tools, if I don't know the game to fight you, if I come to the gunfight without a gun, how I'm gonna win? But how my faith is, let's talk about how
Mm-hmm.
Goliath. Let's talk about how you showed up with a doggone pebble and still got it done. That's how my faith is. My faith is God has to turn some hearts around right now that are in these positions that maybe we don't know everything, but they got it maybe it's a few phone calls that some of these white kids or some of these people who are in charge to say, you know what, enough is enough. They don't have to learn the whole history book. They ain't go to school to be a lawyer, even though they still should know. But you know what? Let's go ahead. They appointed us to be in here. Let's go ahead and just get this done. I don't know. That's how my outlook is on life. And maybe it's too gullible. Maybe it's too whatever for some people. But that's just how my faith is. I feel like if David can go against Goliath, I feel like this can happen in a way where everybody don't have to be in position to know every single thing, but we have been in position to wake some people up. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just kind of just
Yeah, no, 100% agree. No, I 100% agree with you. And I again
yeah,
with him, we know with the Lord anything is possible, and thing that looks like it's impossible is
yeah.
possible when he's involved, when his hand is in it.
Works is
We all,
dead. Yes,
but
ma'am.
at the same time, faith without works is dead. And
No, you have to be.
you gotta be
Because
ready
even
for
David
war.
was
You
prepared.
understand
Now
what
he
I'm
was
saying? You can't.
prepared. He already
We
knew.
can't just give up.
He would. He would.
We got to be prepared. And when you come
No,
unprepared,
straight up.
you
Let me
basically are
let me make sure
preparing to
I add
fail.
this point.
And that's
Because even though he came with
we
a
have to
rock,
get that together.
he came with a few of them, but he came with a little stone. But don't get it twisted. He had been practicing that before Goliath. Okay, he had been defeating doggone
Yeah.
coyotes and foxes and all. He was he was a shepherd. You feel me? So he had to protect everybody. He was a savage already.
Came
So
prepared for the
let me
fight.
make sure I make that
Yeah.
point too, because you gotta already have that already built up. So when you do come to
Yeah.
that, but my thing is just like I said, I just feel like we've been lax. I think this is waking not only us up, but other races up as well. And unfortunately, it's taking lives for us to do that. And that is just part of our history. Sometimes it takes lives to bring real true change. You know what I mean? Like real kind
Yeah.
of off topic real quick, just to make
Yeah.
a point. Um the mothers who had to lose their kids to have the legal age of drinking for 21 and drunk driving and all of that. If it wasn't for those kids to die, if it wasn't for those kids to be in car accidents, you know what I mean? Shoot, if it wasn't for my mom too, like it wasn't for all these people to pass
Mm-hmm.
away and die, there wouldn't be no bills to want to push to pass.
Due to the
And it's unfortunate that it has to
yeah.
take that, but it does. If it wasn't for
Yeah.
slavery, it wouldn't have been that. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been all this stuff we had to go through. If it wasn't for Wade versus I could keep going and going and on and on and on. So it's just like I
Yeah.
think this just may be it. I know I think this one is hitting worse than any time. I think because we're in 2020. Um and we're all facing the same thing with this COVID-19 thing. We feel like we thought we were all on the same playing field. Like all of us are affected. You know what I mean? Like, but here we are. We still stand out as if we're a nobody. Plus the COVID. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just
Okay, well, just to okay, because we're about to wrap it up. So I just want to ask some brief questions that we can answer before we wrap it up. So what do you think really quickly, what should the repercussions of all four officers be?
Okay,
what do you
they
think?
should be
Other than them
convicted.
being fired,
They should definitely have a criminal record after this. Definitely. The one who killed the officer should be treated like, the one who killed George, he should be treated as
George
if
Floyd.
somebody George killed him. Okay.
So he should be arrested and
you
charged
feel
for
me?
murder,
Just like
murder
the
one,
white man who just got hit with
okay.
the dad and the son. So I can think of these guys. Yes, the dad and the son. I can't think of their name, but whatever. Them two guys. Okay. Even though the dad shot him, the son didn't, but he was right there, right? So
the son,
right.
You think
the video guy just got arrested as well.
Accomplice.
We don't know what's going to happen with them because their cases have not been finalized yet about what the repercussions are. But to know they have been arrested and they are inside waiting to see what's going to happen to them, that's a start. So every police officer involved in this needs to be, especially the 4, needs to be arrested.
Okay, so even the ones who didn't do the ultimate, they weren't the ultimate reason for him passing. Basically, they weren't the primary collide. They weren't the ones on his throat. So even the ones standing off to the side, the 4th guy, who was just trying to contain bystanders.
Everybody, all 4 of you arrested. Because guess what? Okay. What was the movie with because you know how I am, Shay. What was the movie with Vivica Fox and the oh shoot, Jada Pinkett? They robbed the bank. Now set it off.
Let's set it off.
Somebody wasn't in there doing. What's her name was on the floor with a wig on with her glasses. She didn't have no gun. But guess what? Her behind they still wanted her too. She could have stood up and said, okay, ladies, let's get out of here, ladies. Let's not rob this bank. No. She was right there too. So, sir, you was standing right there. You could have said, hey, come on, bro, get off his neck. Hey, y'all, let's just pick him up off the floor. Let's treat him like a human being. Let's treat him like he shot 32 people. Just pick him up. No. He was an accomplice. So, should he get life or the electric chair, whatever they're going to do? I have no idea how that works. But no, I don't think he should get the full
I don't agree with that
of the one who was on the net, because he should have just knew better. He definitely have to go underneath and go under. He need to go to jail cell with a whole bunch of them black men in the prison right now. Let's just see what happens with him. Just throw him out there. Just put him in there and see what happens. That's going to be more than enough. Put him in population. Cause don't put him in prison and they got a little 1-bedroom apartment either. Put him out there in population and let's just see how that go. I'm okay with that. Put him in population. But that's what I feel. Arrested ASAP. Never to return to any police, and all even if you get out. Even if you're anxiety, well, I can't say you're anxiety because that's for some other stuff. If you get out, you could never serve nobody in no country. Not even the army. I don't know where they would work at.
Okay. All right.
They should have thought about that before.
Just like we got to figure it out when we get pulled off the streets again. We get pulled off the streets for no apparent reason and taken to jail for lies and foolishness and all that kind of stuff, and then we lose our jobs.
Because when I'm men going away from prison, shoot, some of our females too. What happens? Homes are gone, families are broken, and we always have to just pick up the pieces and just figure it out. When we get out, when they figure out, oh, it wasn't you didn't do these crimes, I'm so sorry, get out, tell yourself that you came in here with 40 years ago, go to society, go get a job, go get a life. No, they always want us to figure it out. You're gonna have to figure it out. But I do appreciate the mayor of Minneapolis for doing what he did so quickly and swiftly. He did it very expeditiously. You feel me? And I appreciate.
I'm mad they came and got that dog first before they got reps, before they lost
That's
their
true
jobs.
too.
But I
But
still appreciate it. I'm just saying though.
yeah, but I'm
got
appreciative of that
first,
mayor, because that
but,
mayor didn't have to move that quickly.
Sorry.
Now he probably moved that quickly because the police chief of Minneapolis is black. So I don't know if that was a case involved. And he talked today as well about the thing, about everything. I just, it just comes down to just treat us with dignity, treat us with respect, treat us like a human being. Like we should have our rights too, just like you. And we have been fighting for this forever. We just don't want to be in the schools with you. We just don't want to be in the workplaces with you. We want to be able to live amongst everybody, not just whites, everybody. Now, if somebody do something wrong to you, that's a different case. That's a different scenario. But just to be just living and just have the respect of, sir, what happened today? Is everything okay? They said this and that to you. Let us know what's going on with that. Not pull you out the car, handcuff you. Like, it's just ways of doing it. Just treat us like how you guys would want to be treated. The basic principles of just being a human. Treat somebody the way you want to be treated. Just treat us like that. That's it. We wouldn't even be in this case. We wouldn't even be trying to figure out what should be next. What laws should be created? How should it be? Should it be 10, 20, 50 years of life? Like, we shouldn't have to sit here and go through all them details about trying to be treated as a human being, man. And they don't want it to get to the point where, like Tupac said, self-preservation, where y'all want to act a fool, we finna act a fool too. We're going to show you better than we can tell you. They don't want us to get like that. Because that's a real true war right there.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't want
and it will take us backwards so far.
Yeah, they definitely don't.
Like we were talking about earlier, real quick, just to add a little quick note. What happened if we did do it? Do they really deserve the riots? Would they really deserve to see us really come in this thing and be real Buffalo Soldiers? And be as nasty as them? And as savage as them? Would that help them wake up? Because them killing us is waking us up.
I don't know if it would necessarily.
It would fuel the
wake
fire,
them up.
right?
It would just, to me, it would probably just give them
exactly.
So fuel the fire for them to do more. It may hit home for some people, but again, this, when you're dealing with a country different, full of different personalities and different beliefs and all that other kind of stuff, there's always going to be some bad apples. There's always going to be some good ones as well.
How? What's next?
Just have to figure out how we're to address these things and be consistent in addressing them and making sure that they know, the country knows, we're not just going to continue to sit back and allow you to do us this way. We are preparing ourselves for war. We understand that this is going to take a long time to change. This is not going to change overnight. We know that. But we are preparing ourselves for getting ready for any time you want to throw these situations at us. Okay, we're coming for y'all, and we're gonna come at y'all. And
because our youngsters, man, they already the smart way. They already ready. They already a different generation than we are. They are ready. They're like the young boys who was telling the Black Panthers, they wasn't doing enough. You know what I mean? So they ready. They hate to hear that because they already being affected in their neighborhoods every day by this. You know what I mean? So they're already sick and tired. They been sick and tired. They be sick and tired every week.
Yeah.
So it's just like Ricky Smiley I had posted this thing on my Twitter account. Ricky Smiley sent his son off to college, right? To school. He had to buy him a camera. So he did this whole video. I posted on my Twitter, and whole video, the whole steps of everything. He filmed the whole thing and sent his son off. He gave him a kiss, told him he loved him on camera, and had him go by his merry way. What he did was buy a camera, and he posted it up. He put it in his son's car. He mounted it up, gave him the USB cards to put inside of the camera, and said, Black America, parents, this is how we have to moving forward. This camera should be displayed in our son's car, in our cars at all times. He showed the camera. He showed where the wallet should go, Shayla. He said, and just watching it, it's like, dang, we got to go through all of this. We have to record ourselves, and how he positioned the camera to the where the officers would stand at. He showed the camera. I told my son this is where his wallet. Like, he did a real full live video of to prepare his son when he drove off on camera. Like, he drove off at that moment. A whole little walkthrough. And so many people on social media, on Twitter, was just like, Ricky Smiley, man, I got 5 kids, man. I wasn't even thinking like this, but thank you, bro. Like, I'm getting my camera tomorrow. Like, this is what America has come to. There's a tutorial. It's a tutorial.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but again, when you know the game, when you realize what's being done, you have to learn to play the game where it benefit, where you're ready and you're prepared. You understand what I'm saying? And unfortunately, we have to do it, but we have to do it. And those are the kind of things. That's what I'm saying. Those are the first kinds of steps we have to learn to start taking, is making sure that children. Again, we don't have kids yet, so we haven't even had the opportunity.
Girl,
we haven't had
I have to stop you right
the opportunity
there.
to have to talk to any kids or any of our own. Or
even further.
Well, again, we have nieces
I don't
and
have
nephews
no
and stuff.
husband yet. I don't know how that works, Shayla. Because that's the conversation you got to have with your husband too.
Well, you have no husband. Yeah.
Being a black man, fitting a certain stereotype because his hair. You know what I mean? Automatically. Yeah. But when he started talking, they may say, now he being like he just too much educated. You feel me? Now you being slick with us, get out the car. Because now you think you know everything. You're supposed to be a black man. You ain't supposed to know none of this stuff you telling me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to set us up for failure, but I'm just saying, when we do know everything, then what?
Yeah, but when you tend to know the law, most of the times it's been shown that they back off because they know what you're doing. They know now. So
that's true.
They got to be a little more crafty in how they come for you. Again, what messes us up a lot of the times is us.
Yeah, we feel threatened.
Getting irate because we're mad because you're doing something that we don't agree with, or that we feel is unfair, and that and because our black men already feel like you're coming for them, and they've already been relinquished of their power. You understand, or you're trying to relinquish them of the power that they do have, the little bit of power that they do have. Now
because it's their true emotions.
It comes off as being combative.
And even we're told that we're angry black women too. So it's just our true emotions. That's just how we come off, right? But when they get like that, it's nothing. As we see the white girl, she got like that.
So it's
but that's normal for them to get irate.
Yeah. It's ma'am, calm down. Ma'am, calm down. I'm not going to tell you again, ma'am, calm down. As I told you 7 times already, I'm not going to tell you again, ma'am, for the 8th time.
Yeah, we don't get the 8th time.
Calm down. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
We don't get those courtesies. We don't even get a third. We don't even get a second time. A lot of the times, we might get one, maybe, but at that point, the gun is drawn already. So again, this is not a segment, guys. This entire episode was not a segment to bash every Caucasian person in the world. Not that, okay? It's not at all, because there are a lot of good white people out here. This is not what we're talking about. Our issue is with how unfair laws and this system are towards
our black people.
Certain group of people. We understand. Yeah, exactly. We understand that there are things that we do in our own race that we need to work on. We understand that, but that's not the conversation, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the unjust things that are done to us purposely, indirectly, by people of a certain race because of how we
nothing
look.
else.
That is what we're talking about, and nothing else. It's not to be mixed. It's not to be changed.
And
it's
they
not
see
to be
it. They can
altered.
see that.
It is what it is.
And I just hope, like you said, just to make sure.
Well, you know, a lot of times when you can see it, people like to flip it and say, you know, oh, you
It's
said,
not
and so I just want to make it very clear that this is not at all. Even though we shouldn't have to say that, but I'm going to clarify it again.
We
That
are
is not
expressing
what this is
ourselves
about.
as a
We
black
are making
woman,
it very
as a
clear
black
what we're
race,
talking about.
as women who are going to have black sons, who are going to be married to black men, who have black fathers, who have black brothers, who had black brothers, who have uncles, black cousins. This is that type of reaction. This is how we feel. This is our views, and we are free to be able to express that in the way we have, and still did it in a respectful way, because we are not racist. Because I even said I may have to, you know, if these men can get their life together, I may have to go ahead and give me a white man, a Spanish man, girl. I don't know who it's going to be, but it doesn't matter. My kid's going to have to be black because I'm going to be black. But what I'm trying to say is we just got to clear that. I hate that we even have to clear it up when we're just talking about how we feel as black people in 2020, going into 2021, because 2021 is like literally around the corner. Half of the year is gone. So this is our views, and this is Brains and Beauty. This is what we do. We have fun. We joke around. We have serious topics. And when we do, honey, the brains do come out, as you can see, as you have heard. You feel me? But this is something that we're just tired of. And we're tired. And we're sick and saying that we're tired. We tired of being tired. But now I think this is really getting us to the point where it's time for some real action.
Yeah, I really hope that this entire episode, anyone who was able to catch it, whether it was the whole thing or a piece of it, I hope that what this episode does is make you understand, one, why we need to have these discussions, why you can't get tired of having these discussions, because when you get tired, you don't do anything. You're stagnant, and that's part of the problem. You're not helping. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that we have these discussions so that we can have these discussions with our family members and our brothers, our sisters, our children, and make them understand how important it is. How important it is to know your rights, to know how to avoid certain situations from happening. It's not you're not less cool because you're trying to avoid being killed early. You understand what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the times I think
that's
as a
lame.
culture,
Yeah,
we think that certain thing, oh, I'm not gonna do this because that ain't right, and that's cool, and that's lame, and all that other kind of foolishness and all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you something. We trying to live out here. Dang all that. Okay, we want our brothers and our sisters and our children to live until God says it's time for them to go, not because you said it was time for them to go. You understand what I'm saying? So we really just want people to make sure that you are taking action when things like this are happening, whether it's calling the DAs of that city, whether it's calling the police chiefs of that city to get on their nerves until they do something, whether it's telling your children, like Ricky Smiley did, prepared his son for going out on his own and being ready for those kind of situations to happen. It's called being prepared. We have to learn to be prepared, and we have to learn to start taking not
speaking
just
about
reactive
right
proactive.
now, I just got a news alert on my other phone that they are rioting in Minneapolis. They just rioted at a Target store. They empty out the store. There's footage everywhere of not only our people, more other races as well, just looting. And that does not do anything. You know what I mean? That just heightens it. But again, history has repeated itself because they did it back then. But like you said, this thing is just to make aware of us, but also to make aware of those surrounding us who are not Black. We have to tell them to go home and talk to their people. We have to tell you guys you are from another race, or guess what, you're in another country, because our podcast is all over the world right now. And right now we need you guys to have these discussions, because we're going to have them amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But we need you guys to come together with us and tell everybody else around you that this is an issue, because maybe you have a sister or a cousin who is in the police force. I have no idea what you have in your family, but if you don't discuss it with them, you guys can't make change along with us, because one side of the spectrum just can't always just make the change. It's going to take everybody to come together to make a change, and that's in all areas and in all things that happens in the world, period. You know what I mean? So we just hope that, of course, like Shay said, I'm not gonna repeat her. She already said we need to come together and get our stuff together and learn. But at the same time, we want you guys to wake up and learn and start having those conversations. If you are white, Spanish, Asian, any other race, any other culture does not identify as a Black person, we need you guys' help too. We need you to stand with us when it comes to injustice. Imagine if this was your cousin, your sister, your mom, your brother, your husband, your son. We need you guys, because this law that could happen and come into play and get approved and passed can also offset for your race as well. Because if the police officer does it to you in your race, they could be affected as well by it. So it's a trickle down thing, but we just need you guys to stand with us, man. Finally, we just need you guys to speak up. We appreciate everybody who has done what they have been doing and who has been having the conversations with their family members, who has been out there protesting with their fist up, fighting with us, telling everybody they're whack and everything else. I don't know what the words was being used, but I can just imagine the words being used. But we appreciate you guys too, because I've seen some people out there protesting who are not Black. They're right there on our side, telling them people they are on drugs. Like, what is wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
Y'all are wrong, and we appreciate y'all.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gonna take
everybody
more
has
than
a
just us. It's gonna take the
responsibility, and
nation
that's basically
for
it.
us
We're
to
responsible
get it
for
together.
ourselves.
And
yeah,
as a human being, you have a responsibility
fellow human
to stand up for your fellow man, no matter what color they are. You your fellow human, exactly. Period. Point blank. So, guys, make sure that you're getting out here. That when this next voting season that's coming up, y'all make sure y'all getting out here and y'all voting for the people who are going to actually make changes to help, not hurt, to help us change what's going on in our country. Y'all make sure that y'all are make sure that you're becoming aware of the laws, and that you're learning, whether you have to learn them on your own or take a class, whatever the case may be, that you're up on and on top of those things, that you're paying attention, that you're watching the news, that you're checking, that you're doing all the things that you should be doing to make sure that you're in the know, so that you can inform your family and anyone else who does not know, so that you can possibly and potentially save their life. You understand what I'm saying?
Us tonight.
So we thank y'all so much for joining. Again, I'm gonna say, because I ain't gonna get tired of saying it. Black Lives Matter, and we should already know that. And I'm gonna keep saying it. Black Lives
humanity matters.
Period,
okay? Our breathing matters. Our
like
future matters. Our kids matter. Our ideas matter. Our existence matter. Period. And on that note, and that's Brains of Beauty over and out. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, you guys. Thank you guys for joining us tonight.